We're still reading for Escape the Readathon, and I am in desperate need of a 5-star. I really want to read some amazing books. All of the books that my friends have been loving, like I have FOMO, I want to be in on the know. So I'm going to be reading some books that I think will be 5 stars, and we're going to see how many we're going to get. So I don't want to waste any time here. Let's get to reading. You guys, I've started Shield and Sparrow, and I'm having the best time. I spent last week reading horror, reading thriller, and while it was amazing, it's so nice to get back to my fantasy roots. You guys, I missed the world building and the weird creatures and just I don't know, it's just something about romantasy and fantasy in general that just hits, you know? Even though I had a great time. I had a great time with my horror and thriller. Where I was going with that, I have gotten 20-ish% of the way through this, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It has some of my favorite tropes in it. Monsters, arranged marriage, like being transposed into a different kingdom and having to learn all of those politics. It's just been so entertaining so far. Normally, I'm the type of reader that prefers the girl that likes the sword, prefers the badass, prefers the snarky character, but in this one we actually have the sister of that character and how she's always been on the outside and she's never really felt like she belonged even though she exists. She knows people love her and she loves her sister. She clearly is not the chosen one. She doesn't know why, but she's generally made peace with that, and I think it's a very interesting point of view. She is snarky and definitely doesn't just bow down to other people, which I can really appreciate. I don't mind a bit more of a softer female lead as long as they aren't roll over kind of soft, and she definitely is not. We've had some really interesting scenes. I have some theories. I don't know whether this is going to be a love triangle or if one of my theories is going to play out, and I think it's going to be really interesting if it does. If it's a love triangle, I'm not going to be mad about it. We've had some interactions between her and the Guardian and the Prince, which I have really, really enjoyed. I'm being a little bit vague, and that is intentional. We'll see if I need to stay vague or not. I've just been rambling about how much I'm enjoying this so far and not telling you guys what it is about. We're following Odessa, and she is the spare heir essentially, and there is this treaty called the Shield of Sparrows, which basically just requires the kings from the 5 kingdoms every generation to give up one of their daughters in order to marry one of their sons and keep the peace between the lands. And May, her sister, has been always known that she is going to be the sparrow. She's always known that she is going to be the one to further their land's political aspirations. She's the one that's been trained in a sword, and Dessa's just kind of existed and knows she's going to end up marrying the general one day, and she's generally fine with that. When the soldiers from that kingdom come into their lands and they are contracted to kill these monsters, they come in, they see the king, they're going through all of the things, and he's like, you owe me a bride prize and I want her. Meaning Odessa, not May. King's like, absolutely not. It's not gonna happen. I get to choose per the treaty. I don't choose that daughter. And he's like, well, bet, because I have a way around that, and you're gonna give me her. And I don't know. There's just something about that trope that is so cool and so much fun, and I'm loving it. I'm having the best time with it. So I am absolutely going to be reading more of this today. There are sprints. Do I know what prompt this is gonna fit for yet? Absolutely not. But I'm gonna be reading, and I anticipate flying through this book. Oh my, this is gonna be 5 stars. Like, I already know, I'm calling it. I'm 25% of the way in. The banter has started. This is gonna be 5 stars. Incredible. Amazing. I have made it to a little over halfway in Shield of Sparrows, and I am absolutely eating this up, having the best time. Cannot recommend it enough at this point. We have incredible banter. Like, they are not together. This is a super slow burn at 60%. We don't have a lot of romance. We have feelings, and we have, like, clearly they hate each other, but they don't actually hate each other going on. But there's been no, like, romance so far, but it's clearly there. And I am living for it, absolutely eating it up. I love their back and forth between one another. The fact that they're like telling each other they hate each other, but then you know that they don't. The pining, it's just so good. And the monsters in this are so interesting. I am a Witcher girly. I love the show, and I was actually going to rewatch it after reading this and got really sad because then I remembered Henry Cavill wasn't going to be in the 4th season and cried a little on the inside. But aside from that, I definitely see the Witcher vibes in this. It's it's not like a one for one by any means, but we have monsters, we have the monster hunter. I like the scenes with the monsters. I think that they're really well formulated, really well thought out. The world building in this is really good. The plot is moving at a relatively slow pace. It's not like breakneck speed as far as the overarching plot, but the action is still there. There's still plenty of things happening to where this book doesn't feel slow. There's not been any moments where I feel like, man, this is lulling, get with the program. I've been engaged from the like second chapter and I'm just having the best time. Like, I cannot recommend this enough, and it's making me want to go back and try her romantic suspense series because the characters are just so well done in here. I'm like, what you gonna be able to do in that? Tell me more. So yeah, I'm living for this. I cannot recommend it enough at this point. I kind of wish I had waited to read it because everybody's been talking about the trifecta of Wind Weaver, Shield of Sparrows, and Silver Elite so far, and I really probably should have read Silver Elite first because I've heard it's the more like fun, just silly goofy times, and this one is a little bit more polished, but I can't regret reading this because I'm having the best time, and it's gonna be a 5-star. I'm having the best time. Okay, so I don't cry at books like that. It just doesn't happen. I have 3% left in Shield of Sparrows, and I don't think I can finish it. Okay, I think I might, maybe, possibly have finally recovered enough to do this clip. I immediately went to Discord and was like, I'm retiring from BookTube. This is the end of the vlog, end of my channel, because how am I supposed to read anything else after finishing this book? Like, how do I move on from this? I truly don't think I can. I remember feeling this way when I read The Will of the Many last year, where I just sat and binged, and when I got to the end, I was like, I can't move on. And that's how I feel about this book. I think that this was incredible. I have 0 notes. It deserves all of the stars, like every star, because I absolutely freaking loved this. It was the perfect mashup of fantasy and world building with cool like creatures. I love a good creature, and action and political intrigue, and even a little bit of travel, small town, sweet moments, banter, amazing longing, excruciating slow burn, finally with the payoff. Oh, it was so good. This book made me cry. Books don't make me cry. I'm not a crier at books. I cry at TV shows. I'm a sympathy crier. If a character on a show is crying, I will be crying, but not usually in books. We've been talking about this on and off. I think me and Lexi and Cassidy had talked about it one day, where it's kind of like, do you see pictures in your head versus do you just kind of read words on a page? And for the most part, I'm a words on a page kind of reader, but she was writing the action scenes so well in this that I could start to picture what was happening. I could follow it better than half the fantasy, like epic dude bro type fantasies that I read. And that is wild for somebody that came from, I know she was romantic suspense, but came from the contemporary romance sphere, for her to pull stuff like this out of her head and be able to write it so seamlessly on the page. So because of that, because I could kind of start to picture it when things were happening and the characters were upset about something, I then got sympathy cries and I was upset too. The ending of this broke my brain. Should I have seen it coming? Quite possibly. Did I? Absolutely not. And if I don't get the sequel in the near future, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So there's that. There's my update. I don't have anything else for you other than you need to pick this up right now, but make sure that you aren't needing to pick anything else up after it. That's all I got. I cannot submit this though for what our team is currently going for. We were working on the Gym and Spa because we were trying to get through one of the harder ones, which is a book that you've been putting off. I picked this up, immediately finished the vlog I was working on, and then started this. So I don't think we can say this was a book I was putting off because I picked it up immediately. No regrets. Well, some regrets because I have other books that I wanted to read and should have read before this one, but that's neither here nor there. So that's not going to fit for the room we're currently working on. So I did have to submit it for The Bar, which is a genre blend. It is a romantasy, so it blends romance and fantasy in such a good way, might I add. But other than that, I am just going to have to sit here and stare at a wall for another hour, maybe take a shower, and not touch a book until at least tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to read because I still need to read Silver Elite and Wind Weaver. Cassidy's been screaming about both of those, especially Wind Weaver, but I'm a little afraid to go into those right after reading this one. Wind Weaver might be okay because she said it was more of a like fantasy with a romantic subplot than it was a romantasy, whereas Silver Elite is a lot more like crack, not as polished of writing, but a great time with great banter. So I might be okay with Wind Weaver, but then I still need to go into Silver Elite at some point, and I just don't want it to be tainted by all these incredible books. So maybe I'll switch to something that's more like epic fantasy, or maybe I'll go YA. I just finished a bunch of horror and thriller, so I don't think I'm in the mood for that. I'm not really in the mood for contemporary romance right now, so I don't know what I'm doing with my life. That is a Tomorrow Mel problem. I'm getting very sick of the rain. Actually, that's a lie. I love the rain, but it has rained every single day for like the last 2 weeks, and I nearly had to use my boat to get home. But on my long drive home, I've been reading Silver Elite, and I am a lot further into this than I meant to be before updating you guys because this is such a bingeable book. I've been listening to the audio and reading it on ebook, kind of doing a tandem read, and I'm really enjoying it. This is a dystopian romance, and I really haven't read a lot of dystopian romance. I mean, we had like our OG Divergent and that kind of thing, but I feel like this is something newer for me, which is very refreshing and something that I'm really enjoying reading. This is following Rin, and in this dystopian world, they have like, there was a war that happened, and now the aberrants are hunted down and killed because people are scared of them. And essentially they are able to like communicate telepathically. Some of them have other powers other than this. For the most part, it's just being able to read and project into other people's minds. And when they do that, their veins basically shine and shimmer, so they're not able to hide it when they're doing it. And they have to be very careful about when they use this power. And then we have like the government society, and there's different rankings in the government society that's basically keeping them very suppressed and down. Our main character has a very special ability that when she uses her telepathy, her veins do not change. So she's able to stay completely under the radar. She is very powerful, and so her uncle has hidden her away. When one day she has to save a little boy from a wolf, takes a shot that nobody else could make, and draws way too much attention to herself, and ends up finding herself in a sticky situation where she ends up as part of the silver, what are they called? It's not the Silver Elite. The Silver Elite's like a subset within them, but basically the Silver Command, which is like the higher ranking officials, in order to kind of keep her in line and keep her under the government's thumb. Along the way, she meets the commander, who is Cross, and he is going to make sure that she stays in line. I feel like that's not the best synopsis, but I don't really know how else to describe this without telling you to just jump straight in. I think that I wish the world building was just a little bit more fleshed out right now. I understand the different like subsets and what is going on, but I do wish that we had just a little bit more of it. But I keep having to remind myself, this is not like a fantasy book, it is dystopian, so there are certain things that I think I'm supposed to be inferring from this in a more modern setting. I want to know more about the war and what happened and kind of how they ended up where they are. Again, all touched on, just I think I want a little bit more depth to that, but I'm having a great time with the romance and the banter. I think that they are so much fun together. Our female main character is so snarky and fun to read from her perspective and be in her head. I'm having a really good time. I'm hoping that will continue. I think I can get another really good chunk of it read today. I'm going to put on the audiobook, but also do some immersion reading, or maybe work on my genre blanket a little bit. I haven't fully decided, but I have the itch to read right now, so I'm just gonna ride the high. I've been setting up my new desktop computer because I am gonna try to be a gamer girly. I don't know if I will be like the best gamer girly, but I had my brother build me a PC. He's a complete tech nerd and had most of the spare parts just laying around his house, which was incredible. But I had to get things like a mic and a webcam and stuff like that. And who knows, maybe I'll be joining the Phasmo train here very soon. I do have a bookish update for you guys. I've managed to get 60% into Silver Elite, and in the beginning I was like, okay, I'm on the train, I'm really enjoying this, but I don't fully feel the 5-star feels at the moment. It was a little bit slow. The plot, while fun, was keeping my attention, but just not like, I don't know, there was just something about it that was missing for me. And then we hit the halfway point and things have just amped up like from about halfway, things are happening left, right, and center. I'm definitely more into the romance now. I liked the romance before. It's working for me much better now. It's just like a sarcastic, sniping type of banter that I love so much. Combine that with this author's ability to be completely ruthless. Nobody's guaranteed to make it out safe or even alive, and I really like that she is not pulling punches and she's not afraid to go the distance and do the thing, because it feels like there are stakes to this. It feels like if the character doesn't do what she's supposed to do, something bad really is going to happen. It's not going to be one of those flippant, just like, oh, well, I can get out of it super easy. Yeah, I guess that's how she got to this point anyway, but I don't know. There's just something about where we are now that feels very like gritty, and I am enjoying that quite a lot. So I'm much more in it at this point. I can see like a 5-star, 4.5 star at the point that I'm at now, which is about 60%. I have 2 hours left of this, so I'm really hoping, I know I said this last night, but I'm really hoping that I can finish this tonight. I didn't think it would take me as long as it has, although it's only been like, what, 48 hours, so it's not like it's dragging out for me by any means, especially since it's well over like 500 pages. But I think this last 20% is just going to completely fly by, and then I'm going to be with everybody else chomping at the bit for book 2. Okay, so I have a really quick phone clip for you guys. I just got to work, but I fear that I have a new personality and I am obsessed. I can blame Tori for this because I had never heard of the band Sleep Token until she introduced it to me on Sprints the other day. I'm living. I listened to the album on my way to work today. I've told you this before, but I have a really long drive on Mondays and Wednesdays, and every song is incredible. There's such an odd like juxtaposition though, because she described it to me as like a softer metal. Yes, that's true, but they also have hints of like hip hop and pop, and I don't know, there's just something about rock. There's something about it that just works, even though it's such a mashup of all of these other things, and I don't know what it is, but it works really well. Their songs, like some of them feel like a bop. Others feel like you're drinking coffee on a really stormy morning. It's just the best, like, moody vibes. It's the vibe of every book that I've been reading recently, and so I'm just having the best time. I was listening, I think my favorite right now might be Past Self, but Dangerous feels like every enemies to lovers pining, like, I shouldn't want them, but I do ever. And yeah, if you have not listened to their new album yet, you absolutely should, because I am obsessed. Okay, so I have finished Silver Elite and I am ready to scream at you guys about this book. When I was about halfway through it, I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this. This is great, but it feels like a 4-star. I want the 5-star feels. And then we got to halfway and beyond, and I absolutely ate up the last like half of this book. I think when the romance kicked in, really amped up the banter and the dialogue between the characters. Just, oh, so good. The friendships really started to amp up. Things just got a lot more interesting for me after they kind of got through most of the academy setting, and we started to expand more into the rebellion and the like dystopian world as well, and I am so curious what is going to happen here. I think that the ending was like left me on the absolute edge of my seat. There were all these different things happening and I am just mad. Like, I'm so mad that there is no sequel out for me to read, because I would literally be dropping everything to pick it up right now after finishing this. So I loved this. I know some people were saying it had cringy writing and cringy romance, but like, cringe where? Because I think that the writing was actually pretty good in this overall. It's definitely more like fun, bingeable writing, but the romance in this, I had the best time. Once the romance kicked in, I was sat. So I was trying to debate between giving this a 4.5 star or a 5-star, just because I was like, well, a 4.5 meets in the middle, but my feelings right now on the book are so good because I just finished this on a high that I think I'm gonna give it a vibes 5-star. I loved this. I think that it was just so much fun, so bingeable, and I will be recommending it for people that want something a little bit different with great dystopian vibes. They want Divergent but for adults with great spice. This is going to be the book for you. So I don't really know what I'm going to pick up next. Those were the only two like plans I had for this week. I have a couple of different options, including Windweaver by Julia Johnson. Cassidy has been screaming about this, and then everybody picking it up has also been yelling about it. Or I also need to read What Blooms from Death by S.M. Gaither, because there is a special edition from Aura Crate, I think, that is going to be going off pre-order on the 18th. So I need to decide if I want to get that. So I'll let you guys know once I decide. There are sprints tonight, I think. So I'll probably join Heather for sprints. This one I was able to submit for one of our games. We're currently in the gym and spa and barely staying above water, so to speak. But we're still climbing the ladder. We're still trying to get out, and hopefully this one does help us a little bit with that. But I'm nervous. It's going to take us a little while to get out of this gym. So I'm looking for another book that I can quickly read and submit for that. It has been a whirlwind of a past few days. My mom had her last reconstructive surgery and she's doing really, really well, but it was a long day at the hospital and like getting her set back up at home, and your girl is tired. Because of this, I have not been reading. I tried to read at the hospital, but my concentration is just really not there right now, so I'm trying to like get my mojo back. I have managed to read about a quarter of What Blooms from Death though. I decided to go with this one because I wanted to know if I needed to get the special edition. And this one is about a princess whose family was killed when she was 17 years old. The new Light King killed her father and her realm was basically swallowed up and is now a plague that you cannot enter. She has necromancy magic and she has been using these past 7 years to hone her magic in order to be able to go down into the underworld, find this sword, and be able to take over and kill the Light King. And I think that there is a lot of really, really cool world building to this story. The flower imagery and the juxtaposition between that and the necromancy is really, really cool. I like the underworld aspect to it. She has these shadows that can kind of come off of her skin, but she also wears bracelets that allow her to hone in and focus on her magic so that she doesn't lose control, because there are no longer really any necromancers around to be able to teach her how to control her powers on her own. And I think that that is just really, really interesting. Unfortunately, it is not being expanded upon super well, so I feel like we're getting all of this info dumped at us, but not really telling me anything more than just the bare bones. So it feels like a lot of information, but then it also feels like not enough information all at once. And because of that, I'm having a little bit of a hard time really settling into the story because there's so much going on, yet I don't feel grounded, if that makes sense. And I think a little bit of that is SM Gaither's writing style takes me some time to fully get immersed in. Most of the books that I have read from her, the Flame and Sparrow trilogy, which I really, really enjoyed, took me about halfway in both books to really find my footing and be like, okay, I'm starting to love this. This one does start a little bit faster than those two did. I definitely feel like we've hit the ground running in the first, quarter or so of the book. She has met, I think, is the love interest a lot faster than she did in Flame and Sparrow, and they are interacting, but they haven't had enough interactions. The interactions that they do have though, incredible. Their banter is going to be so good when we get more of it. Like, they're around one another, but I just need them to interact a little bit more because I think that I could end up loving the romance to this and still enjoying the world building a lot and having a great time. I just need more from it right now. I need more in all of the things at the moment than what we are currently getting. So hopefully it's coming. Like I said, I'm only a quarter of the way in. Jonathan and I decided to do basically an impromptu buddy read. He was already reading it. We just happened to be at the same spot at the same time. So curious to see what his thoughts on it are as well. But I am hopefully I'm going to be able to finish up all of my like miscellaneous to-do things today, all of my filming and everything, so that I can sit down and focus on this dang book. These last couple of days have been insane as always. My AC went out yesterday, so it was just a struggle trying to get all of that fixed. We did get it fixed pretty easily. The problem ended up being something that was easy to fix, but meant that it was installed incorrectly. So that's why I've been having problems with it every single year, which is really, really annoying. But it also really messed up my reading plans yesterday because it was too hot in here to read before he was coming. And then, when you're sitting waiting on somebody, you just feel like you can't do anything else. That was my issue yesterday. I just was sitting and thought, well, I'll read. No, what if he shows up in the next 5 minutes? I did not get a lot of reading yesterday, but finally in the evening, I was able to sit down and read about 15% of What Blooms from Death. So I'm now around 50% of the way in, and I am still struggling a lot with this one. I feel like it's just moving so slowly. We're doing a lot of traveling, so they're like moving to a place and something happens, and then we move to a place and then we talk, and then we move to a place and something happens, and they're just navigating this underworld. They're supposed to be looking for something, but I feel like in the last 15 or 20% we haven't even talked about what they're looking for anymore. There's a lot of like word vomit telling you things, and they're meeting the right people at the right moment to get the information that they need, which is normally fine. And I think if I were more invested, that kind of stuff would not be bothering me, but I'm just not invested right now, and I'm so incredibly incredibly sad about it, to be honest. I just want more of their banter, but then the banter has slowly started to turn into the romance moving a little faster for me than I typically prefer, and I really don't know if it's me or if it's the book. And so I'm struggling with like DNFing it and picking up something else for two reasons. One, Flame and Sparrow, I think I told you guys, took me till halfway, and so I'm like, okay, well, probably once I get to halfway, it's gonna get better, everything's gonna be fine. But then also, if it doesn't, and it is me and not the book, I'm scared to pick up something else that I think is gonna be 5 stars, which is the whole point of this video, because I don't want my mood to affect me enjoying it. So that's where we are. I'm really wondering if my mood is affecting my enjoyment of this read. So I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna soft DNF it and maybe come back to it. The special edition goes off sale today, so I'm probably just gonna miss out on that, and at this point that's fine. But I just don't know what I'm doing with my life currently. So yeah, thanks for putting up with me while I make these decisions. I do have a couple of books on deck that I'm gonna try a chapter of today. I've actually already read the first chapter of both of them, but I just want to see if one definitely holds my attention. The first is Wind Weaver, and I really, really, really want to read this. I think it's something that I'm going to absolutely be obsessed with, but I do not want my mood to affect it. So I keep like putting it off because I'm like, what if my mood? But the other option is This Monster of Mine, which I think I told you guys earlier that I would be considering. Jonathan's been reading this and he said it's really, really good. The comps that he gave me for it made me a lot more scared of it. This is Roman inspired, and he said it's kind of like The Tainted Cup meets Justice of Kings, which is very scary, both of which I did not like. Now, The Tainted Cup I could appreciate. The murder mystery was just a little bit slow for me. Justice of Kings, again, very, very, very slow. And this is a more like heavy political murder mystery type book. But the first chapter that I read of this was incredible. So I'm like, I want to try it. I want to give it a go because I've heard really good things about it, but like, I'm scared. So that's where I'm at. I am just really not doing well in picking books at the moment, which is sad because I started this video off with such like high ratings. I think that I'm just nervous because I want more of that, and so it's making me have complete and total decision paralysis. So I bit the bullet and I decided to soft DNF What Blooms from Death. I don't know if I'll start it back after I finish this book or not, but I think it was finally time for me to admit that whether it's the book itself or whether it was my mood, something was not working for me and I was just struggling to get through it. So I did decide to put it down. I got about halfway into it in over 200 pages, so I was able to submit it for our current game. We were struggling to get out of that gym and spa, but we finally managed to do it. And I've moved on to Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. This is the Fairy Loot edition, which is absolutely stunning. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but everybody's just been talking about how amazing this book is. And I was like, okay, I feel like a tried and true, everyone that I know that I trust is loving it, could be good for my like slump. And I was right. They were right, because I am now 100 pages into this and really enjoying it. I will admit, when I first started, I was a little bit unsure because the writing was much more formal than the types of books that I've been reading recently. Not in a bad way, like the writing is very, very good. It just felt more formal in nature, and I was like, is the dialogue gonna feel stilted? Is this gonna work for me? But I'm happy to report that as I got a little further into it and just started to focus and read, it has really kept my attention, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. It starts off with a bang where we have a halfling fae that has been taken captive and she is about to be hanged, but they are basically torturing her in the interim. I'm assuming from what I know so far about this world, halflings are being hunted down and killed. This kingdom is separated into like the south region and the north regions, and the southern regions have different kings that are basically elected by paper and able to do whatever they want, and the north feels more like a free range kind of thing. But they're not able to do anything to her until the general comes and gives the okay so that he can actually watch it happen and knows that the halfling is gone. She has this birthmark on her chest that when it's touched, it blasts the people across the room and she doesn't even know what is happening to her. So the general comes and he says, no, y'all can't hurt her, basically wipes them all out and takes her for himself, and now they are traveling to the Northern Kingdom. That's all I have in this book so far, but I am enjoying it immensely. We've got some really good banter that's been happening. Cassidy did say that this is more of a fantasy forward and romance in the background kind of book, kind of like Daevabad. I still feel like there's enough banter and like back and forth between the two characters for me to keep my engagement, but I also think that the world building in this so far has been really interesting, and I'm only 100 pages in, so it was definitely a good choice for me to switch over to this one. I'm excited to settle in and get some more reading done. I'm getting ready for bed, But you guys, I have found another obsession, and I am not surprised because I knew that I was going to enjoy this book, but like, how have I read 250 pages of this today and it hasn't felt like anything at all? I'm halfway into The Wind Weaver and I'm having a great time. There's definitely a lot of travel in this and a lot of like slow learning things, which is not usually my preferred, but there's something about the way that it's being told and the like banter that we're getting. Sorry if you can hear Bryn chewing. She decided now was her perfect time to eat. I'm trying to talk about a book. Can you not? Anyway, so I like I said, I'm obsessed with this. The banter in this is really good. I'm enjoying the back and forth between the characters. It definitely feels very focused on our main characters. We have some side characters that I'm really enjoying their dynamics as well. I do want a little bit more of them personally, and I'm enjoying learning about the world, but I do feel like the relationships between the characters for me feel very front and center, and I'm enjoying that a lot. We have met the second love interest. I knew that this was a love triangle. I knew that there were two love interests to this, and I was just waiting to see who it was gonna be, and I really like him. I'm not surprised because of the character archetypes I expect us to have, but yeah, he's great. He's gonna be the bad boy, and then we're gonna have our golden boy, and it's just gonna be great, and I'm living and I'm having the best time, and like I said, I cannot believe that I've already read half of this chunker today. So I don't know if I'm gonna read any more, just simply because I am ready to go snuggle up in bed, and unfortunately this is the only format that I have this book in, so it is kind of hard to just sit and hold that while laying in bed. I don't want to buy the ebook, and I'm really enjoying reading it physically. I don't really want to listen to the audiobook, even though I fought tooth and nail to start a book that I knew had an audiobook. We're not going to talk about it. But yeah, I think the slump is broken, or I think it wasn't a slump to begin with, and it was just the book that I was reading. So this is going to teach me to DNF things a little faster and not just power through for the sake of it. So hopefully you can't hear the thunder in the background because it has been a day of thunder, lightning, and tornadoes. But here we are. We are going to be wrapping up my final thoughts on Wind Weaver and this how many 5 stars can I get vlog. I did decide to DNF What Blooms from Death. Honestly, I finished Wind Weaver and went, no, I just don't have any interest in going back to it right now. I don't have any interest in picking it up. Maybe one day, but I just wasn't invested in the story, and if I'm not having a good time and I'm not invested, I don't have time for mediocre books, and it just was not, no matter how many tries I gave it, it just was not holding my attention. I've since read several books and everything has been managing to keep my attention, so that tells me that it was definitely the book, and I just need to cut my losses and just say that that book wasn't for me, which is okay. I think it was a really cool idea. The execution just didn't really work for me in the writing more than anything. I just wanted more of like the banter and less travel. So quickly though, let's talk about Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. I loved this book. I read the majority of this in one day. It was such a quick, fun read for me. The world building in this is really cool. I wish we had had a little bit more world building, a little bit more action. This is a slower paced story that really hammers in on the characters and learning about them and their relationships. It does a great job with side characters, which is not something that I've been seeing a lot of recently. I've been complaining about side characters not really getting their due, but I feel like the found family in this was absolutely incredible. I loved the romantic aspects to it, even though it feels like there's going to be 2 love interests. One of them really didn't get a lot of time on page, so I'm hoping that he will get more time in the next book because I really liked him and his kind of sassy attitude. The other love interest, Penn, I also really enjoyed. He was more of the brooding, tortured hero type, and I think they're going to offset each other really well. I don't know if this is going to be a why choose, but I know I'm not the only one rooting for that to happen, so hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe. But I'm not mad at a really well done love triangle either. In some ways, it gives me ACOTAR vibes, and don't come for me when I say that because it's not like ACOTAR in the plot, but a little bit of the romance slash love triangle kind of feels that just a little bit, but also not at all, but just teeny little bit, so I wanted to put it out there. But I'm giving this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for the sequel. I love to see Rhea's character development, and like I said, the world was really cool. The elemental magic in here was incredible, so I cannot wait. This was an absolute win for me, and I'm so excited that I decided to pick it up. Definitely a slump buster. I had the absolute best time with this. I am going to be submitting this for the bar though, because it is a romantasy, so a genre blend, and it does not really fit for our current game. So I am just sad, honestly, that A, we're done, and B, all of the books that I gave 5 stars in this vlog don't have sequels for me to immediately pick up. But out of the 4 books, 3 of them were 5 stars. Which is incredible considering I haven't had that many 5 stars this year. I've had a lot of 4.5 stars, and like Silver Elite was a 4.5 rounded up for me, but 5 stars. So many 5 stars. So we are just absolutely thriving in the romantasy world right now. I'm living and I'm definitely not complaining. So I cannot wait to see what the next book is. I'm in my I love books era and I'm having the best time with it. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Let me know if you've read any of these books down in the comments below. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me a feather for Windweaver. I will leave up my most recent vlog on the screen here in case you guys want to check it out. All of the information for Escape the Readathon is down in the description box below, and I will see you guys in the next one.